The hellish burn within my throat ripped me back to consciousness. I could feel the razor of fate slicing at my insides as I gripped at my chest, digging my fingernails under my own skin, trying to remove the darkness festering within. Hearing myself rumble an inhuman guttural growl that was unfamiliar, expecting to feel the heart palpitations of fear, only to realize that there was no thumping within my chest. Not even the waves of terror that lit my skin on fire could awaken the lifeless organ under my ribs. My heart, once the symbol for love, was now a cold stone within me. Opening my eyes to see the same forest as before, this time tinted with the colors of hell. Though my sight had never been more clear, the beauty of nature was suddenly gone. The world and what was left of its innocence was gone. The same Mother Nature that brought me peace was gone. The fresh scent of pine and wet earth vanished, only to be replaced with the stench of gore that made my stomach churn. Drenched head to toe in my own blood that had turned dark and made my clothes stiff. My blood that had dried and began to chip from my skin. I began to remember. Reaching up and grabbing my throat, expecting to feel ripped flesh, but it was smooth to the touch. My mind sinking its claws into what was left of my sanity, dragging me back to the onslaught. His sinister vermilion gaze, the bone-crushing grip, the searing pain as he ripped me open. My heart slowing its pace as I struggled to breathe, as I struggled to stay alive. The audible slice as he buried his nail into his own flesh. My vision haloing in darkness as I watched him take a mouthful of blood that was pouring from his arm. Feeling him sink his mouth into the gaping fresh wound along my neck. The evil nectar scorching the inside of my veins. My mind released its clutch, bringing me back to the grim reality before me. Wondering if I had been a part of a really sad satanic ritual or attacked by some lunatic drugged out of his mind. I should have been dead. And if I was dead, this was indeed hell. Rising to my feet, I slowly looked upon the grounds, searching, waiting. He couldn't be far. I knew he was lurking, stalking. When I finally laid my eyes upon the inevitable glow of red hovering in the shadows, the spark of pure, seething hatred began a fire within me. He emerged from the cover of night, towering in height, dressed in black slacks and a white button-down that was ripped and crusted with crimson. His white hair hung in strands around his blood-splattered face as he slowly pressed forward. I met the stare of this animal, his eyes tinted with the same sickening red. I felt something inside me shatter. It wasn't the fact that he wore my blood as an accessory. It wasn't the pure disregard for the events that took place, or that he was indeed the beast that had hunted me. It was when I noticed the smirk pulling at his lips that slowly turned into the largest grin I had ever seen. like he was proud that he was a predator, proud of what he had done to me, proud that his misery now had company, proud of the carnage. I was not there for entertainment. I was not there to boost his pride or stroke his ego. I was not there to be submissive to a creature that lacked self-control. Anger shook me to the core. All I could envision was ripping him limb from limb, starting at his neck. Before I could take a step forward, his eyes narrowed, and with inhuman speed, he vanished. The tree branches overhead swayed violently as I frantically searched the shadows. I closed my eyes for only a moment when a rush of air overwhelmed me as a familiar grasp held tightly at my throat. The monster lifted me up and thrusted me into the trunk of the oak tree looming behind. I began to dig the heels of my bare feet into the side of the tree in an attempt to lunge towards him. The bark of the tree started to carve its way through my skin. His eyes lit up with pleasure as we could both hear blood dripping upon the grass below. Grabbing his arm and digging my nails into his skin, fishing for what he had taken from me. Baring my teeth in a crazed grin, slightly satisfied with the lukewarm blood that began flowing from his wounds. All I wanted to do in that moment was to cause this man as much pain as possible. Every scene of his demise playing over and over in my mind. But with every move I made, his grip tightened on my throat. He became more complacent, his grin still plastered across his face as he watched me struggle. It was in this moment that I realized I was too frail compared to this beast. I snarled as he chuckled, gazing at me as I ceased movement, my fingernails still embedded in his arm. His hand heavy and stiff, hanging like a noose around my neck. The words he spoke, forever leaving a cruel imprint on my soul. You're mine.